I often get asked how I started to become a restorer, and these two books will show you one reason. This is my grandparents' house, and in that corner was a painting. That's my dad and my brother, and I'm the one in the blue shorts. That book is the story of my parents. This is the story of Bruegel, and the painting that was in my grandparents' house was The Hunters in the Snow. It's one of his famous winter scenes from the Ice Age of the Middle Ages, or the Little Ice Age. And these paintings resonate with me more than any other, from staring at it constantly in my grandparents' house. This is the picture. This is the picture that means the most to me, and I have never seen it. So these two books, this one and my parents' story, are going to take me on a little trip. A trip to Brussels in Belgium. I won't get to see the painting that I want to see, but I will see a collection of Bruegel paintings. And alongside this, I'll also get to see some of my artwork that I've created in the past, which has also been on a bit of a journey to Brussels. So this video is just a little travelogue, if you like, documenting my trip to Brussels to see some Bruegel and see some of my artwork, so welcome along. The first stop is Notre Dame de Sablon, Church of Our Lady of the Sablon, and this was the first evening on our arrival, and straight away we saw some fantastic paintings. Just walked in off the street, beautiful building, and then you hit with this wonderful triptych, and then it turns into a bit of a busman's holiday for me. I immediately start looking at the condition of the paintings. There's lots of overpaint here on this, dirty varnish, lots of areas that would clean up nicely, but it's just there on public display, weathering the storm. And this is what a lot of paintings do. They just sit and things happen to them. Holes and tears. This is quite a famous painting, a big rip there. This is the beheading of Barbara in the same church. Again, just public display, no protection. You can just walk straight up to this picture, much like this one. This was a bit higher up, so it was in a bit of a better condition. I'm always drawn to a church, no matter where I go on my travels, and there's always something of interest to see in there, and heaps of history. So after this we had a quick walk around the streets and stumbled across the Grand Place, which was absolutely stunning. These are all guild buildings of various different types. And again, the mannequin Piss, stumbled across him as well, a very famous Belgian landmark. And then we turned in for the night and awoke to this, which was a protest of French farmers outside the European parliaments, because they were annoyed about certain issues affecting their rights to grow crops. So this musical interlude woke us up the first morning, but we still managed to get out, get some breakfast, had a wonderful salmon gravel axe breakfast, and then we were off onto our travels. So the first stop was to go and see the ceramic art fair that had some artwork in. Hi everybody, so if you've been wondering where we've been travelling, we're here at Ceramic Brussels. It's the International Art Fair for Ceramics, and I've got some of my original pieces here on display, so let's go inside and check it out. So for those that have watched my lives, you'll know that I have an arts practice. Part of this is in ceramics as well as painting. I got obsessed with ceramics at one point, and my whole practice became about learning this craft and making objects. So I had the opportunity to show some artwork I created in 2017, and the Second Act Gallery from Blackburn and London in England took some of my work to this art fair, and there's some amazing pieces of work in this fair. So this was the first contemporary art fair dedicated wholly to ceramics. So it's normally contemporary art, whereas this was just purely based on ceramics, and some of the pieces were fantastic. A whole breadth of work, different styles, different genres, and it was just great to turn up there and see some of the amazing creations that were there. So ceramics is something I'm really interested in as well, just the fact that you can create something in clay and fire it and it can last thousands of years. So a painting's got a pretty good lifetime, 500, 600 years maybe, depending on how it's kept, but ceramics can be 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years old as long as they stay in one piece. These were quite interesting. They were like inner tubes or inflatables made out of clay and fired. They were quite nice to see as well. So yeah, always got a big interest in different types of artwork. And then these were like photo frames or picture frames missing their artwork. Again, very interesting. Quite liked those as well. So the second act gallery is who I'm represented by, and this was their stand. So here are the plates that I made as part of a large project in 2017. It was a project about World War I, and these were commemorative plates, and each one marked a battle or a conflict since the end of the Great War, of which there were 226, with a total of 68 million fatalities. So I made a plate for each one of these conflicts. So during this period of my practice, I was really interested in conflict and war, and I wanted to be a war artist and comment on the different conflicts that were happening in the world or had happened in the past, and that's what my practice became about. So a lot of this work was created before social media had taken hold, so art as a form of activism was giving voice to a lot of things that I was concerned about in the world, whereas I feel like now everyone's an activist, everyone's got a cause, and you can just promote that on Instagram or TikTok or whatever platform you choose, whereas back in the day, even though it's only a few years ago, as an artist I felt that was my role or my position in life, was to actually highlight certain conflicts or certain things that I'd found out about the world. I do kind of still stand by a lot of the work that I did, but maybe my viewpoints have changed over time as I've seen how things do develop. But yeah, it was so nice to have my work alongside many famous international contemporary ceramic artists. These big sculptural pieces were just fabulous and so much fun, and I just know for a fact that these will weigh an absolute ton because I've made similar things myself. Okay guys, that was Ceramic Brussels. I hope you enjoyed our little look around. I'm going to head into the centre now and go to the it's not the Museum of Modern Art, the Royal Academy of Arts, I think. So let's see some old masters. Right, let's go. One of the things that really struck me about Brussels is that public transport's amazing. With one ticket you can jump on as many trains, as many buses as you like, and it's really easy to get around. So to get from the Northern Quarter and the Top West down to where the palace is and the museum took no time at all. It was early evening by then, and yeah, it was just a fabulous atmosphere. And then this is inside the Royal Museums of Fine Arts, and what an entrance. Some of these paintings are absolutely ginormous. Just the size of these is hard to comprehend, even just painting them, never mind moving them around and installing them or cleaning them. But yes, fabulous work all the way through the gallery. And I turn into a kid in a sweet shop. As soon as I get there, I'm just trying to absorb as much as I can, taking in as much information. And even though I'm here to just see the Bruegels, really, I find myself instantly distracted. Hi guys, so here I am at the Museum of Fine Arts Belgium. Another thing that was on my trip of places I wanted to see. And they have got some Bruegel paintings here that I think you'll enjoy seeing too, so hopefully I can show you a little bit of inside as well. Okay, let's go have a look. there was such a wealth of paintings just in this section of the gallery. I'm always struck by the colours used, the tones, and the way that the human forms depicted before that kind of Renaissance area. Everything seemed a little bit more characterised and less formal, if you like. And then I stumbled across a Bosch reproduction, very famous painting. And I showed this on Instagram, and someone was talking about the difference between Bosch and Bruegel. And they said, it's a Bosch if it's lots of crazy little people in a painting, or it's a Bruegel if it's lots of little people doing ordinary things. So I thought that was quite a good definition. But there is like an exception to the rule, which I'll talk about later. But this Bosch painting, the colours, the vibrancy, I know it's a reproduction, but just those pigments that are used in there are just fabulous. I just love that whole colour palette. There's like a Venetian red, and then that deep emerald green, and then the blues, and then to contrast it with like those pink tones, and then this blue gown on Madonna there is absolutely stunning. I would love to be able to paint like that, or even work on a painting like that. And the same with this one. Fabulous colours, the drapery is all executed brilliantly, and then in the distance you've got all these little characters and a bit of a landscape as well. Just there's no part of that painting that's wasted. And then here we have another Bruegel, the younger, I think this is, so a slightly different colour palette, but I'm on the trail now. I'm getting closer to my destination. Again, I'm getting excited now to see the real ones. Look at the detail in there. And then this is the Bruegel room, so I could just feel myself getting excited again looking at it, just to see the actual paintings in real life, paintings that you've only ever seen in a book before, and then they appear in front of you. It's just magical, and I usually don't know where to look or where to start. This is the census of Bethlehem, another fabulous winter scene. All the tones, the colours are in there, are present. And then just the detail in there, it's just fabulous. There's no wasted section in there either. And then another more close-up scene of the peasant life. And then this one, I must have looked at this for hours when I was a child. They're almost like those Where's Wally kind of pictures. But again, the detail in there, the composition, the colours that he used, it's just absolutely fabulous. And you give yourself a couple of minutes in front of a painting like that, but it's nowhere near enough. You're trying to take in as much detail as you can, but it's just not possible. You'd have to sit in front of it for hours to fully appreciate a painting like this. But one thing that did strike me was that he was painting the ordinary man, the everyday man, much like Lowry, again with his limited palette and only a few colours used, and that's what struck me. So Bruegel is Renaissance. He's not painting heaven and hell, he's painting the everyday ordinary man, the peasants. And I think that's why he's so popular, because everybody can relate to his work. But I'd never made the Lowry distinction before, and that became quite apparent to me when I actually saw them in the flesh. Just fabulous. What a treat. Now this is the exception to the rule. This is The Fall of the Rebel Angels by Bruegel, and they always thought it was a Bosch until they took it out of the frame and found his signature on the bottom corner. But heavily influenced by Bosch, the colour palette and those weird creatures and animals depicting hell. And again, another Bruegel here, similar kind of chaotic scenes, but again a very limited palette. Something that I take away from my visit there was maybe try and make or ground your own pigments and make your own paint, and you would be limited in what was around, so your painting would become limited. This is a depiction, I think it's Antwerp this, but again the detail in this, and this painting was leading us into the Dutch master section of the museum. And here we have Rubens. These paintings are ginormous, absolutely massive, very loose, kind of the opposite to the Bruegels that I was looking at, but still incredibly impressive. And then downstairs in the Dutch masters' rooms, fabulous paintings, brilliantly executed, wonderful colours, Again, I had about half an hour left at this time, and I was trying to just absorb as much as possible. Again, I was drawn to these peasant scenes, and I've been reading about these artists that hung around with, like David Teniers, and some of the stories that they got up to are just fantastic. So that might be an episode further down the line. I've found out some great artists that I'd like to delve a little bit deeper into. But again, fabulous pictures. And then the last of the day was Rembrandt, and this stunning portrait was in the last room, and it just slaps you in the face. Wow, well, I could stay here all day. Unfortunately, we're going to have to make a move, so I hope you enjoyed that little brief tour, whatever I could show you, and yeah, see you soon. Cheers. So as the sun sets on Brussels, the place where my parents honeymooned, I saw some Bruegels. I've still to see the hunters in the snow, so next stop, Vienna? Let's see.